Hello and welcome to Caspule Preseason Week 3. My name is Destiny, and here I have my co-host Donut.
Hello, everyone.
And here we have our special guest, Coach of Namek, and actually another supposed co-host here, Oasis.
Hello, I have returned from the dead.
He's returned from the dead to see some special things later. But anyway, shall we get going?
Let's do this.
Yeah. So before we move on to the matches here, just gotta put a little rest in peace for my boy Sword Trunks. Alright. now that that's over, no, he's not crying over future Gohan, don't worry. We move on to Budokai versus Resurrected Warriors. This match went pretty well. Pretty even start, but 18's when 18 came in, no, she wasn't tagged in last. She just really didn't do anything. And one of the other highlights of this match is Maju cleaning house, going a near elite performance, just almost 3.2k away, and ending up in a Resurrected Warrior victory with a 2-bar lead versus General Tao, who tagged from being the start but came back in last with almost no health, so pretty unfortunate. Donut, what do you think about this match?
I thought it was a pretty good match overall, right? Majub obviously taking things in control there, and 18 struggling mightily. And I thought on paper this was very close, and it was going to be really, could they handle Majub and other Goku, I thought would be the two that have to do it. And on reverse, you thought, oh, can they handle the likes of General Tao, who did a very phenomenal job the previous week, and Yamcha, who's been doing great and doing that 50 to 60k consistently actually over the past 3 weeks, right? And obviously the answer was that Resurrected Warriors would take away with it, but I didn't think that it would be due to 18's lack of damage, really. I thought she would be able to hold her own. I thought maybe Nam would be able to be that weak link, if anyone, right?
Yeah, I think no one expected 18 just to not do anything.
Yeah, right, and to under 10,000, really, and that's really shocking, considering the strength for all or her B2s, right, which can stack up very fast. So, but obviously, go ahead, yeah.
It could have just been 18 didn't want to fight her old team, because
true,
because Budokai was the team that loaned early Goku for her.
Yeah, and you saw the old friends and can't fight them. Pacifist run, it's all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Yamcha and Nam are obviously the two focal points for Budokai, I think. General Tao, obviously we know we can do that, but seeing Yamcha and Nam be more consistent in those 50 plus K weeks is really nice to see, right? If you're a Budokai fan or a member. And obviously on the flip side, it's all Majub. All was Majub. Tapion struggled. He was also, I think, against Yamcha. If I remember right, Yamcha and Nam, I believe, was the two that Tapion faced.
Right? Actually, no, I believe Tapion was against Tapion was against Yamcha, tagged into early Goku. Early Goku beat up Tao, and then they just had the tag game at the end.
Yeah, because Budokai had that 3 tags, right? Yeah, they had 3 tags, so that really helped them actually stay competitive in this, right? If those don't come in, right? Say only 1 tag, that's potential 20k health right there, right? So
Ader doing 50k.
Yep, Ader doing his thing. He takes his man. This is Stereo Man right there. We love it. He's so good. I mean, he's so consistent. He's thrown out there on any build, he'll do his thing. So good. But yeah, so I mean, neither team has really much to worry about apart from 18, I think, and apart from Tapion, I think, those two. But you also have to look back and say, oh well, Kid Goku, who was an elite character, Cyber Tao, who I believe was an elite character at one point last season.
Got the same elite as Garlic last season.
Yeah, so those two didn't step on the field, and they're super competitive, right? To the point where it could have really been down to a few B2s either way. And then for the rest of the Warriors, you have things like Vegeta, who didn't step onto the field at all. So No, arguably their best character wasn't even in, and they were able to take the win. So I think both sides should be relatively happy with
I
it.
wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. I mean, first of all, am I the only one who's not surprised by the outcome? Like, I feel like Maju is on. Like, Maju's on that level when slapped with Eternal Life. Like,
oh yeah, he's that good.
Right.
I don't expect elite. I didn't expect elite over people like 18.
The first 2 weeks Maju was actually in, he did almost 70k both weeks. This is the only week where he's done above 70k. But that just shows you the work Resurrected Warriors did, even though he's only on a like defense plus 3 Eternal Life build. Just shows you how much a tank can do.
Yeah.
Well, not even that. It just shows you how many tools Maju has. He literally has everything a fighter would want. You know, he has the 2 RB2. He has fast melee.
Yep.
He has a stun. He has like the only thing he doesn't have, which to be perfectly fair, he could have had in like a previous build of the game, is his ult. You know, his ult doesn't have the best tracking, and that's why it's kind of lackluster. But it used to home on you pretty well. But yeah, I personally do think that this was to be expected. Sure, 18 not doing as well as she's known to do in the past. You know, she used to be Valkyrie's ace back in the day. And seeing her, you know, get pretty much squashed, not able to get any momentum, is kind of shocking. But considering who did it, being Maju, I'm not shocked.
Actually, I'm pretty sure Ader did it.
Oh, was it Ader? I mean,
it was Ada and Maju. Yeah, they
it was both. It was both.
Yeah. So I mean, you got Android Ader, who does what he does. He does what he does, and he does what he wants, and he does it very well. And then you have Maju, who does everything and more when he wants to. And then after scouting and testing against Resurrected Warriors, I realized that early Goku is like the most annoying closer to fight against.
He's not even the most annoying closer. He's just the most. He's just one of the most annoying to fight because like melee damage, the Kaioken, and then the solar flares is too much.
Yeah, it's really solid, right? You know.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like he has damage behind him, but it feels like he shouldn't. If that makes sense, like the way he acts, the way he does his thing, it doesn't seem like he should be hitting you for like 3k smash attacks every time he comes up to you. But he does.
Doing a full bar basically every combo after a solar flare.
Right.
Yeah, it adds up fast, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like it works better than it. I shouldn't say this, but it works better than it should. And because of that, it makes Resurrected Warriors look really, really nice in game, more so than on paper.
Oh, yeah, like you say, other Goku, like in past performances, said, "Oh, he did a solar flare, and he did 4,000 damage." Like, cool. Then there's another 4,000, another 5,000, then another. Like, just keeps on stacking it, right? And it's just
right.
Now you half health. It's like, wow, okay, cool.
You gotta respect it. Yeah.
Do you think Resurrected Warriors is the only team so far to still be undefeated in the preseason?
Understandably so. I understand why.
Maju, Ader, Vegeta, early Goku, and even honestly their 2 little weaker characters, Yajirobe and Tapion, just it's a bunch.
Like honestly, who has the worst? Which team in this league has a harder time choosing their FA? Because between Tapion and Yajirobe, that's a hard choice. Like who would y'all choose?
Well, my team was originally going to go for Tapion, and this was the team that actually took him.
Yeah.
But I had a hard choice whether I wanted to do Tapion over Turles or Tapion over someone like Garlic. So just goes to show what he could do.
Yeah, as you think Yajirobe, right? You just think, but on paper, but in practice, Yajirobe's actually really solid, right? He combos off his V2s very well.
And Yajirobe also gets the power body and max power.
Yeah, and it's really solid, right? And you'd say for Budokai, same thing, right? General Tao, who do you get rid of? Nam, maybe? Is that the play? But Nam did 54, right? So it's like, it's really a hard sell, right? That's why now it's looking like 18, right? 18's in the boot, you know? But,
Hey,
who would have thought that, right? Of all the people.
Exactly.
Maybe after this season, early Goku, they might want early Goku back for 18.
Yeah, you know, that may be a play. I don't know.
Yeah, but with that, shall we get moving on?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so going on to match 2 here, we got Namek versus Jane. Oh, I almost do not want to talk about this match. And as you can see, Late Piccolo over here with an elite performance. Actually, the highest elite so far. We've gotten 4 elites. And then I think just he was the highlight of this match. Just taking out Turles, taking out Garlic, taking out Frieza. But actually, Garlic, surprisingly, didn't even hit any of his B2s this match.
Yeah.
Which is weird for someone like him. But after Late Piccolo went down to Turles, Nail came in, took out Turles on like his last 2 bars maybe, and then Jane just trying to pull something back, nearing the 60k performance line, but it's not much you can do when you still have like Nail to cut through King Piccolo. I believe Jane actually took a King Piccolo ult to the face, so that wasn't fun either. And then we still got the boy Nuova in the back, and it's like, he's not a sleeper.
Oh, he does damage.
Yeah. So, Donut, what do you think about this performance?
Well, Cinema, I think needs to go back to target practice. They hit 3 out of 15 B2s. All the B2s, as I said, from Garlic Jr. missed, as well as all the B2s from Frieza missed. And that's a lot of damage missing, right? Because those punishing blasters do a lot of damage.
And not just a B2 miss, he also missed an ult.
Yeah, it's just like those things, you know, it doesn't seem that much, like, oh, it's a 6,000 B2, right, or whatever, right? But that adds up really, really fast, right? And especially when you're trying to get rid of an Eternal Life type character or a healing character in general, like Late Piccolo is, you need that burst damage, right, to get onto him.
I'm pretty sure Late Piccolo is actually on like his last half a bar, or at least his last bar for most of that fighting.
Was he?
Versus
I thought
Garlic.
he was on.
No. Yeah, versus Garlic, he was on his second to last bar.
Yeah.
He was like half the second to last bar.
I think it was all of Frieza that he was on his last.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it was a majority of Frieza, yeah.
Yeah, and then when he fought Turles, that's when he was really on his last bar.
Yeah.
And then he got the Jane.
And Cinema was like, alright, let me just handle this.
Also remember, Turles started for us, so he had to tag and come back.
Yep. But it just is what it is there. And obviously the focal point for everything is Late Piccolo here, but we do have to say, hey, at least Janemba was able to bring it back a little bit, so that's good for Cinema, right? Showing that Janemba has that potential to, you know, has some combat potential in him, which is nice. Just wasn't enough, obviously.
If I remember, this was actually the Janemba build that was falling off in testing recently. We have a new one in the works, Combo Master plus Late Energy.
Ooh, some staying power, alright.
Yeah, and it's actually really good since Janemba mostly gets his like 7 hits just off of his regular melee, so.
Yeah, so the Combo Master fits well with that.
Yeah, and then, but Oasis, what do you think about your boy Late Piccolo?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things I could say about Late Piccolo. I just have questions for you in particular, because the reason why we went so stacked into this match was for 2 reasons. A is because in testing, Jane would always kick her ass. Like that was a given. Like, if he came out early enough, he would wipe us like before with us. But then two is the fact that I thought you were going to bring Fasha in here, and I knew for a fact that if Fasha and Jane were on the same team versus us, we couldn't win.
You would have been destroyed. But the reason why is because we're using this as our time to figure out who we want to bench. So,
right, which I kind of suspected because it felt like to me that, you know, Garlic, Turles, and Frieza were kind of on test builds, and that's literally the only reason why. Well, that and Garlic not hitting his B2s, and how and Don's point of just damage being left off the table will let Late Piccolo do his thing. But I felt that because of the fact that 3 out of 4 of your characters were on uncertain, very shaky builds, and Late Piccolo was essentially on an established 60k build, I just gave him the chance to, run it down.
Run right through him, yeah. The only one
Yeah,
who was not on a test build was, of course, Mr. Janemba in the back. But we've actually been having a lot of trouble with Frieza in testing. But I think we found a build that actually can work with him. But hey, when you bring Goldo out?
Hell yeah, there it is. Right?
Yeah, no. I mean, don't get me wrong. I thought about it because Nail was kind of acting up previously, but no. I will say I want to briefly mention Turles starting. Not something you did. I mean, don't get me wrong. You did see it in the last season. Turles starting with Eternal Life, defense +3, or key +2. I think he swapped between the two.
He was mostly defense +3 Eternal Life. We didn't switch him to key +2.
Okay, so yeah, so he was on tank Eternal Life started. Do y'all plan on making him your sub starter, like when Jane is benched for the week, or is he going to be your permanent starter? Like, if you don't mind answering that question, what's your thought on that?
No, I don't mind, but right now we technically have 4 starters for our team: Garlic, Gogeta, Turles, and Jane. But Turles, Gogeta, and Jane are more the ones that I can see going in first. But Turles, we have some builds for us for not starting him, but that was a build for specifically starting him, and we don't plan on returning Turles to Eternal Life anytime soon. So
makes sense. Right.
That's what Jane, right?
Yeah.
Jane and Fasha.
So I'm guessing. So I'm guessing that your goal is at the moment is kind of making like a more close combat team. If that makes sense. And you're trying to figure out who. I mean, from what it looks like your close combat is already settled with Jane, Fasha, Turles when he goes 8. What really looks like right now, they're trying to figure out who is going to take out the backline. Frieza with Gogeta even, and Garlic, and between those 3. Because honestly, once again, if Fasha is online, which I believe she is, correct me if I'm wrong, and I know we all know Jane's busted. Jane's busted.
Yeah,
because
he is busted though.
We're not even going to talk about the fact he has a 9k B2 plus his lightning storm or lightning shower.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a 9k 3-bar B2, and it's 9k with no super pluses. But you can't sleep on Frieza's 2-bar punishing blaster that does almost 9k.
Right. Dude, that's like 8k, right? It's like damn.
Yeah. It hurts more. Once again, another character that hurts more than they should. You know?
Unlike Mr. Cell over here on Android, it doesn't track. It's just a beam.
Yeah.
I mean, if it hits, it's going to. I mean, because
if it hits at all,
power body. Yeah, because of his power body, it's probably going to hit if he doesn't do something else. But overall, I know for a fact, Cinema is going to be a terror.
Yeah,
once they get that backline character settled. Going back to Resurrected Warriors, they're going to be a terror as well. Budokai is there.
That's also be really good. Yeah.
Remember, our division is Royals, Rugrats, Cinema, and Resurrected Warriors, so it's a party.
I mean, that's the beauty of this league. I feel like once again, every team has a shot. Every team has their man, and every team seems to have their formations somewhat settled to some extent.
Yeah.
And you can only back in the old league, there used to be teams where you can bench your strongest member and be fine.
Yeah.
Now is like, I wish I had my strongest member in every week.
Right. It's like, can I have Cell every week, please? Thanks.
Can I have Jane and Fasha in every week?
I'm gonna need that one. The hell?
I'm gonna need Can I have it 5 weeks instead of 3? Like,
Yeah, right? Can
But,
I just bench Pro too many times? Is that good? So damn.
but I think
right?
I
Yeah.
think as much as we'd love to talk about these two teams here, considering there's a cinema supporter and dynamic coach in here, I think we got to move on.
We do have to move on.
We'll move on.
All right. But again, congratulations, Late Piccolo, on the Elite.
Of course, yes.
So, going on to match 3 here, we have GT versus Hybrids, and yeah, this was a match. If I can remember correctly, it was Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta and was it Kid or Ultimate to start?
It'll be Ultimate Gohan.
Yeah, Ultimate.
All right.
Ultimate Gohan.
Yeah, and then Ultimate there getting a nice, just average 80k.
Mhm.
And this
It's
is
okay.
this is a different build from last season, unlike the Late Piccolo one, which they took from old Ultimate Gohan. This one is a Key and then the Eternal Life and Sirius.
Yeah, well, Sirius got randomized off this time due to build issue.
But he still had quick fast attack.
Yeah.
He still hurts because he's the strongest form of Gohan.
Like, he still does 80k with a 6-point build. Imagine that.
And then we
That's wild.
and then we got
That is
GT
wild,
Goku.
though.
Then we got GT Goku coming here. And then I believe GT Goku ulted, if I remember correctly.
He did. He did.
I only remember a bit of the start and then the ending, which was the ending is what I want to focus on here. So it was Kid Gohan versus Sin Shenron, and right as Kid Gohan was about to take out Sin, it wasn't a tag. He killed Kid Gohan, but since Kid Gohan switched in from Teen to Sword Trunks just came in, did a nice almost 3k damage to end off the match.
We love it. Some stats, some damage. We love it.
Sir.
He saw the child version of his mentor going down. He couldn't forgive Sin.
Yep.
But Donut, what do you think about this match?
Yo, Donut, before you start, real quick, why is Ultimate Gohan so thick? Oh, with them Kamehamehas and the damage.
I believe he also has super explosive wave.
Yeah, he is. Like, yo, that's a good B2 right there.
I think Ultimate Gohan has almost the exact same B2s as Gogeta. Super explosive wave, a chargeable Kamehameha, even though it's not Big Bang, and then a rush ult.
Yeah, burst rush. Yeah, instead of Stardust Breaker. Yeah. Basically the same character.
It's basically the same character, just their son.
Alright, so Gogeta doing 80k next week.
I hope so.
Go.
No, we just need to give him healing, but that's never getting on.
Yeah, that is, right? But yeah, I think this match was actually... It's hard, because like, you point to Ultimate Gohan, right? And you say, oh, well, he just took over the match, and he did take over the match. But I think there's a lot of still good points for GT to handle, like Pan going 2 for 2 on flashes, 2 for 3 on the B2s. Pretty okay outing in that department, just in the melee department, where the other stats is lacking for the damage output, right? Obviously Shenron doing his thing. He's been really a 40k plus character most weeks that I've seen him in tests as well as in actual matches. So that's really good to see. I know he was a problem child for the longest time last season. For him to be up in this, like, 40 plus area is really solid for him now. And of course, I think the match really kind of got away from GT as soon as Vegeta was able to do his 30k, at least even 30k, right? And did you want him to be up into the 50s and 60s, right? He's one of those heavy hitters alongside Pycon, right? But you think about it, at least on paper-wise. So for him not to do that is really just a big problem, right? And Ultimate Gohan's a tough character to be, of course, right? But you want it to at least be more comparable, right? To at least set 40, right? So I think that's what really got away from him, from GT as a whole there. But I think everyone else just did that part, right? About what you expect them to do. I guess GT Goku kind of struggled as well, right? But his big thing is like getting the ult, go back up to max power, another ult, his big ult type of thing with the spirit bomb. So some days it just doesn't land for you. I know all too well about that type of build, but there's not really much to say here, right? So
Yeah.
I think for the main match, or when it does the main season, I think we'll see a lot of adaptations from GT on this one. I think maybe we see PyCon in for this one, right? I want to do a shout out to Kid Gohan though. And last week I said maybe that Kid Gohan's gonna take the boot with General Blue being in those previous 2 weeks, right? And Kid Gohan heard me and wasn't a fan of my comment, so shout out to Kid Gohan.
So just a nice almost 60k performance.
No, this one at the office.
Yeah, but Oasis, what do you think about this match?
I mean, I was about to shout out Kid Gohan myself before Donut, did the honors. I was going to say that, well, my biggest concern is Ultimate Gohan for one, and how he's freaking doing 80k on Key +2 in Eternal Life, essentially. Like, how is this I digress. The match itself was, I mean, it was not back. It definitely wasn't back and forth. There's definitely momentum on Hybrid side because of the power of their characters. The character being Ultimate Gohan. We talked enough about that, but more on the GT side, like Donut was saying, I do wish Vegeta was able to counter Ultimate Gohan a bit more and show his stuff. Cause scouting GT out as well when they face us in testing. When Vegeta gets going, he will get going, and when he gets going, we finish signs with. I think he has finish signs.
Yeah,
maybe he does. Thank you. I thought he did.
Most of the Vegetas have finished signs except I believe Machin and Scouter.
Broken. Anyways, so with this, with the fact that he has high damaging Mewtwo's, high damaging melee, all that good stuff that you want in a melee fighter, he definitely could have taken over this. He would have taken over this match. I don't think he would have. He would have done at least 60k and then bounced to Kid Gohan because of Afternoon Strike. But in general, I feel like even though we've seen GT, struggle early, do well later on, I feel like they're still trying to figure out a couple things, especially with their FA, especially with PyCon being thrown into the mix. Because last season they didn't seem the most steady ending off the season. Sure, they came out, what was it, 8-6, 9-6, something like that.
I think 8 and 7, something like that. They tied with 7, I believe. But,
yeah. So whatever season, but Destiny, you should know what you had last season. What'd you have?
I know what we had last season, but
whatever.
It was basically
Anyways,
about
the point is, they seem a bit shaky, and it seems that shakiness is kind of continuing into this preseason.
Yeah,
I feel Zal will figure it out as the seasons go along because that's just how things play out or have played out in the past. So we'll have to see. Either way, hybrids they look scary because Ultimate Gohan, Max Power B1, Kamehameha, best B2 in the game, Super Explosive Wave, blah blah blah.
The two best B2s in
now
the
that
game.
they have, pretty much.
And you argue it, yeah. There's an argument, but
and now the fact that they have Sword Trunks working, because remember last season that was their weak link. That was the character we would rip up our apology letters for and constantly make fun of. Now this man is doing 40k plus when he gets the chance. This week he didn't because there was only 3k, but who cares? But
by the way, according to our head of stats, Ryan, may have heard him on the commentator, Sword Trunks averaged 1230 damage per second in that match. So that's pretty solid.
Nice.
That's pretty damn good. He have a 2 seconds. He have a 2 seconds.
Right? But overall, all I want to say is that GT is going to figure out something later in the season. I guarantee it, because they're going to end positively for some odd reason. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I don't want them to end positively. It's just something's going to click, and I don't know what it is. But the hybrids are going to be scary through and through because all their characters work now.
If I remember, last time we saw PyCon, he almost did an elite performance back against the Goku Elite. And you also have to remember, GT traded what was basically considered their best character, which was Baby, for this season.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, the last time we saw PyCon, he did 93,000. So
Well, we haven't
Pretty
seen Pilaf
okay.
yet.
we have not seen Pilaf. Where's my boy?
I don't think we're ever going to see him. No pumpkin spice.
Maybe not.
Hey
Yeah.
man, he might replace Pan or something.
I just see him maybe be on against androids, right? I can see that happening. Does 19 or the water maps, right? So
Yeah.
that'd be an angle you see Pilaf in.
But with that, shall we move on?
Let's do it.
All right.
Yes, the fun match.
We got match number 4, the most fun match of this week, in my opinion. Dirt versus Sentai. We have actually, I believe, Salsa versus Saiyaman to start.
Let's see.
I know,
Saiyaman was starting. Yeah.
I know Burger and Vegeta were in the back. That's one of the only things. And actually, pretty even. Saiyaman, I believe, taking the lead though. And then Hercule coming in, trying to do stuff with his present bombs. Herc doing Herc things, false encouraging present bombs, all that. But didn't get to see a Mr. Boo this week. And then
Are those stats right?
Yeah.
Herc did less than 40k?
Yeah.
Oh, was my monitor off or something? What?
Your monitor might have been off, man. Herc did less than the Doria.
What was this match? Where was I?
It was a match, though.
Adult Gohan did not want you to see this match.
Yeah, you did not want.
Yeah, y'all gonna have to
and
do
then
some big analysis here. You gotta explain this to me.
I'll tell you about it in a second.
Yeah, that's gonna be doing this job. But Dodoria coming in against Birder doing fine, and then same with Vegeta. But when Adult Gohan came in, whew, man, that boy with the B2s, and something that was considered, this is base Adult Gohan as well, since the FAs were out after the forms were already decided for characters, so they allowed it for the FAs. Only FAs. But Adult Gohan coming in, just blasting through Dodoria, blasting through Vegito. Yeah, Vegito just didn't get to do anything. That's why he only did almost 20k. So Adult Gohan with that near 90k performance, I'm scared of that, man. There's a reason why he was one of the most people with the highest Zenny count in the FA pool. But Donut, mind explaining this match?
Yeah. So as said, it was really just Adult Gohan and Saiyaman taking over the show, right? Adult Gohan went 7 for 8 on B2s, threw an ult, and won a clash. So when you do that, and your highest combo is a 19,000, damage, I believe, that's pretty okay performances, right? And overall, Sentai as a whole, 1 auto clashes, hit 80% of the B2s. When you do that, it's a formula for success, right? And it's any team in the league. You have it against Royals or Androids or whoever, right? It doesn't really matter, and you'll probably win that match. For Dub, they did fine on the B2 department, but they lost all their clashes. They had the 1 tag, which helped out, but Sentai had two tags, so it meant nothing really, right? And Vegito and Adult Gohan, I mentioned it last week, where we wanted to see that match to see how that'd shape up, and Adult Gohan just took it handily. It was really no contest, which was shocking to me. So I envisioned them in such a equal state, right? And for one to showcase his talents much more than the other was actually really shocking. As stated, Hercule tried to do some things and just wasn't able to spam out as much as he needed to, right?
I think Hercule also lost a clash, which we rarely see.
He did lose a clash, yeah, and that was against, I believe it was against Saiyaman, who I believe does have a Power Rage.
Hey.
Yeah, so there it is. And yeah, it's just a lot of things that went against Dub in this match. I don't know if you play this back, it's the same type of result with Adult Gohan popping off. I think Hercule probably does a little bit better against Saiyaman. If you play this through like another 10 times, you'll probably see Hercule win that, at least from what I envision as the stats of the characters. But really the big question is when this happens in the main season, how does Dub combat against adult Gohan? What is the answer, right? And really, I think it is just being able to spam him out with Hercule and be able to spam him out with Vegito, and try to win that spam battle. We know Vegeta can spam that to Barbie 2 Static Finger Beam for like what 6,000 each time,
Yeah.
and much like I said with the Slate Piccolo, doing that damage and that burst damage will really help, right? Against these types of characters. So
you also have to consider this is not going to be on a more open map, unlike Frieza Spaceship. It's going to be on the islands, which have a lot of water, a lot of stuff to hide around.
yes, right, and that could hinder Dub a little bit because I know the charge is a big factor for people like Hercule, right? So we'll see how they combat that.
Vegeto's charge rate isn't that good because of Fusion character.
Yeah, so we'll see what they do. I'm sure they have answers. I know Fiora theory crafts a lot, so they'll be able to figure out a plan at least going for it. And Sentai, shout out to Sentai. They're now Tune 1 in this preseason, so that's really good for them, getting that above average
Awesome.
win-loss record.
And we didn't even get to see like one of their star players, which was Jace.
Yeah, Jace, the Sailor Woman, made All-Stars last season. Didn't see her at all either.
Captain Ginyu, basically an android with all the times that he stabs himself.
True. So yeah, it's really good. So Oasis, what are your thoughts on this one?
I mean, based on what you've told me thus far, it seems like everything that could go wrong for Derp went wrong. You literally lost me, or I lost it when you told me Hercule lost a clash. Like, when was the last time you have seen Mr. Satan lose the clash to anybody in the league?
Even with
I saw
Do you remember?
I saw in a test, but he had Unleashed Key, and he went into a Power of Rage person, so that made sense, right? Yeah, but I'm like, that's just a test. It doesn't really matter, right? But in the main match, you have to go way back.
It's very rare that Mr. Satan Hercule loses clash, even against people with clash boosts.
Yeah,
right. Like him and Bobbity, I feel like are the two best mashers, really, because that's what you do when you in the league when it comes to that. I don't know. That hasn't been tested, so I don't know. Regardless, my thoughts is that Ultimate Gohan is a monster. Super Plus 2 with a B1 that fully gives you max key.
Yeah. Full power charge.
Full power charge. Yeah, that is a very powerful, deadly combo because, I mean, this match proves it right here. He can spam out 9k, 10k B2s because he doesn't have to charge for them. And even if you does have to charge for them, you're just going to get suckered into melee, to which he just backs up, fires up another one, full power charges, and rinses and repeats.
Yeah,
that's such a strong, it may be, very straightforward, but it gets the job done.
Yeah.
And then remember, this was base Gohan, so he could have transformed. He could have done like a Bros.
Yeah.
I forgot. Oh,
that's another factor, right? So
don't remind me.
Yeah. I'll say shout out to Saiyaman there, doing 4 for 5 on the B2s and winning both clashes he was in. So that's really just all, and attack. Like, he did everything he wanted.
Saiyaman looking to be like, even though Sentai right now is a all-rounded team, Saiyaman's looking like really their weakest link. But for him to do this performance, it's really good for Sentai. Good work on them.
Yeah.
Hey, I was not expecting. I was not expecting Saiyaman to do more than 50k in any week, but for him to do 60k here, which I'm assuming that was from B2s.
Yeah.
Or am I
4 out of 5. Yeah, 4 out of 5 B2s. Yeah, Lost Super was supposed to win.
He was spamming. Gotcha. So it seems like Sentai really is sticking to the mid-range, long-range battle of just spamming out B2s, burst out the opponent before they can even touch us, which, as we've seen with androids, well, not really androids, but cold, really. Like we see with some other teams, that is a very good strategy, because how are you supposed to kill the person, or at least take them out, if A, you can't touch them, and B, they're hitting you for 12k every time you come close. Like this team of Saiyaman with his super explosive waves or his Justice Slash, because and Adult Gohan being able to do his straightforward combo of 10k B2s every 2 seconds, it's definitely one to look out for. And like y'all were saying, Captain Ginyu is definitely an android at this point because of how often he has to stay in the face of his opponent because he takes out his own ki, all that good stuff. And I haven't seen Jace though. How is Jace? Do y'all know how Jace is right now? How would y'all describe him?
Jace is a monster.
He can't be a
Is
monster. He's very similar to, let's say, like Garlic, right? In a sense, if his B2s are spamming and hitting, he's a menace, right?
But
The
if
pressure
not,
ball,
then he's not doing much.
He's not doing much of anything, and it's those up and down weeks. Like sometimes you'll see 60k, 50k, and other times you see 22. It's like, well, okay.
He's one of those characters where you know he's on like that spectrum of damage. And you just spin the wheel to see which one you. Okay, that's as balanced. Yes.
But lately, Jace has been hitting a lot more of the B2s, so.
Lately? So his accuracy has improved. Okay.
Yeah,
so this team really. Yeah, so this team, besides Burger and Ginyu, I assume, it seems like this team really is focusing on staying as far away from their opponent as possible and throwing out B2s. And I feel like this really is a different strategy than you've ever, at least for me, I feel like this is a strategy I've never really seen Sentai take. I feel like they've always been the balanced team of, you got Jace being the backline, Burger, Ginyu being up in people's faces, and then, Goldo being or whatever. But this seems like definitely seems like a new era Sentai with the help of Adult Gohan.
It's also interesting. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good.
It's also interesting that if they do it in close, right? Sentai will get into a clash with you, right, and then knock you away by winning it, right? And then rinse and repeat. Now they keep your distance again, right? And they use that with the builds, right? Power evades, Dragon powers, right? So.
Right. See, you're right, and I feel like Derp it's similar, but not really. Before they got Vegito, I felt Derp was in a very similar position where they would try to burst out their opponent from long range attacks instead of melee, but not via super +2 damage items, but through defense, like Salza, Dodoria, defensive maneuvers, and tagging. Was their bread and butter, but they changed that. I don't know when, but they changed that. I kind of miss that old strategy of you can do as much damage to me as you want, but I'm going to tag, I'm going to get my health back. Someone else with the damage, Hercule, is going to come and do damage to you, and I'm going to come back, tank all yours, and rinse and repeat. Like, I felt like Derp being that wall of defense with like Hercule cannons doing all this damage was a solid strat. But I mean, if they go back to it, that's great. But we'll see what they do going later on into the preseason, the main season. But hopefully they can get Vegito to 60k status like he should, because he's Vegito.
Yeah. But
I will say, I wonder if we have one more thing. I wonder if we'll see Tweedus next week in the final week of preseason. We haven't seen him yet. So.
I hope so. That man's. I mean. He's just like early Goku, in my opinion. He does more damage than you assume. He does a lot more damage, a lot more melee damage than you might think.
Yeah.
So,
but
I hope so.
With that, shall we move on?
Yeah, sure.
Why not?
Alright, so this next match here, we got Androids versus Rugrats. I think one of the most hype match of this week, just because of like. You know androids are a strong team, but you also know that Rugrats have like the Demon Child, Kid Trunks, and all that. And then to start, we got Cell Jr. versus Android 16.
It's Goten versus 16.
Okay, Goten versus 16. Never. Sorry, I'm used to Cell Jr. Sorry. But Yeah, I think it goes pretty well for 16 here. I actually think they both end up tagging, and Perfect Cell actually comes in, or 19 comes in versus Kid Trunks. Kid Trunks only doing is like 30k. Oh no, wait, no, I remember it's Perfect Cell versus Kid Trunks. Perfect Cell just taking out Kid Trunks, but not doing as much to Aurelie. And then didn't touch on one person here, but Cell Jr. I think fought Android 19 and just as you can see, Cell Jr. actually doing the best on Rugrats this week.
Cell Jr. fought 3 different characters.
He fought everyone but Cell.
Yep, everyone but Cell.
Everyone but his dad. And then
ironically.
And then Aurelie takes out Cell, and then Android 17 comes in, and this is where the match started going, where you wouldn't know who would win because people still have tags, and then 17 coming in, 17 being 17, both of them trying to spam each other down. But the hypest moment of this match, and Donut I believe can relate, is Aurelie was going for a ping that would have, I think, basically sealed the match right there.
Down to 1 bar.
And then Android 17 stared death in the face and was like, "No, I am going to grab you out of this ping," and he grabbed him out of the ping. And then Android 17 just sealed the match right there, taking out Goten, Aurelie, and the last part, and well, basically the last part of everyone, except Kid Trunks. So
just Kid Trunks already passed down.
Don't know. What do you feel about your hype of a match here, knowing that the demon child was stopped?
Oh, it was stressful. I'm not gonna lie, it had me stressing. And 16. We thought Cell Jr. or Kid Trunks, or anyone but Goten. They don't usually start Goten at all, so they started him. It kind of threw me for a loop, and 16 kind of took care of business there before Goten tagged away. And we had 19 versus Cell Jr. and 19 actually held his own for the first bit of that, right? And then Cell Jr. started coming back with the Innocence Rush and the special beam cannons and that type of thing, right? Really jumped back into a leading position. And when Kid Trunks came in against 19, 19 instantly grabbed him out of Matt's power and then absorbed the B2. And right there, that really paved the way for Cell to the agency over the matchup with Kid Trunks, right? Because Cell had Ki, it was Savior, and Kid Trunks had little Ki left, right? And that allowed, because Ki works both in B2s and in melee game, right? With those dodges, right? So it allowed him to get more not the same power, but more damage in, at least instantly against Kid Trunks, which is nice. Aurelie comes in. Ooh, Aurelie's a problem. Aurelie's always a problem, not gonna lie. She's
just a problem for every team.
She's just a problem. She hates Android. She hates everyone. I don't know, man. What do you do? But it's the 17 obviously the star of the show in this one, I think. Cleaning up as well. Because let's say that ping hits, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's down to 1 bar left. Maybe he takes out Aurelie. So let's say he does. Goten hit an assault against 17 at the end there, which would have killed 17, which left a 1 bar last bar face off against 16 and Goten, right?
What's Cell Jr. still in the back?
No, Cell Jr. already died to 17 before that.
I did.
It just been those. It's been those last 2, and 16 was taking it to Goten earlier, but you never know, right at the end. So it's been really, really close.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm proud of the squad. But we did a lot of prep work for these guys, and it still was that close. So that tells you a lot, especially when it's not on our own map in the main season, on their map. So that's really stressful as well.
My main question is, how do you feel about Cell Jr. not being able to fight his father?
Well, so that's a sign, he wants to be back with his dad, Toshiro, take some hints,
The androids need to keep Cell Jr. away from his father. Don't make him fight.
Yep. Yeah, he wants to be back with the team, more loving nature, not fighting nature, So that is. But yeah, I think being able to. I think the main focal point, obviously 17 with that hype grab, but being able to shut down Kid Trunks, with the absorbs and the grabs for 19, and then still being able to take care of business. I think that really swung it in our favor enough to take the win overall. But Cell Jr., I don't know what y'all fed him, but he was a menace that day. So shout out to that, really.
Yeah, Oasis, what do you think about this match?
Oh, there's a couple things I want to talk about here. Well, starting from left to right, starting with Perfect Cell, I'm surprised he actually went below 50k during the match. I would never have suspected that to ever happen unless Donut just puts them on a troll build. But today was today, and
It was on cell build, so.
I think it also happened during week 1 because Frieza with the Nova Strikes.
True. I mean, yeah, if you burst them out, what can you do? You may be Cell, but if you get hit by 2 10k B2s, then you can't.
Don't do anything.
Yeah, you can't do much. But I was actually very worried about Android 17, even though it doesn't make sense for me to be worried about Android 17 because he lets you can do anything he wants. Because he didn't seem to be up to his performance, week 2 when he lost to Tambourine. I was like, wait a minute, that's not how it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if Android 17 was maybe on like a test build, or maybe he was, slipping a little. But this week definitely showed that he's perfectly fine.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with him, and he's definitely there to pick up the slack if Cell happens to be sleeping on the job. And that's kind of one of the reasons why Android is a dominant team, because Cell is in the wings almost always. Android 17 is there to start, to finish, to eat your breakfast, to take your lunch, and all the above at the same time.
And cook you dinner.
And cook you dinner. Wonderful guy. He's just a good tech option. And because he comes in damaged. You know your own team. I don't know why I'm explaining it to you, but your team is solid, and it's kind of why I was expecting you to do. Sure, Aurelie has seemed to be your weakness for a little bit, but I was expecting you to do better than what you did here because of all that you have. Going for you,
Yeah. On paper we looked really solid, right? So.
Right. But I say this, but even as I say this, I expected Kid Trunks to do better than he did.
Yeah, 27k is not what you expect from a top 5 character, right?
Right. I expect that from Cell Jr., but look where we are now.
It was reversed.
Out of 10 tables.
Reversed. Yeah. Like Kid Trunks, usually it's in your face, charging up to 3 bars because his passive is 3 bars. A key, shooting out the B2, kicking you in the face again, and rinse and repeat because of Eternal Life. And I was expecting him to do the same thing to 19, to 16, and then die to 17 or so. That's what I was expecting. And then Aurelie to clean up because she's your but that's not what happened. And that's not what happened. And that's personally why I really enjoyed this match, because this really, not only was it close in a lot of good ways, but it also just threw me for a loop, because people you expected to do well didn't necessarily do all that well. Like Cell didn't do all that well. He only did 43, which is average. Yeah. And while on the other hand, you have Trunks doing not well at all because he did about 30, and you have Cell Jr., who usually does 40-30, doing 66. So I'm not sure whether it's growth or whether it was just a lucky day, but I'm really wanting to see what happens to Rugrats, especially Cell Jr., if they can keep this up in the next week. And if they do, especially if Gotenks, I'm surprised Gotenks didn't come out, but oh well.
To be fair,
this
was the first week we saw Goten, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
That makes more sense.
And I think the reason why, because Toshio, I know, hates 19 against Gotenks, so he didn't want that matchup to happen. So.
I mean, I can guess why, because the grabs interrupt the savior.
Yeah, but the same thing happened against Kid Trunks then, right? No, he had to grab out of savior, he had to absorb, right? So it's like same thing happened.
Right, and I feel like that's a bit worse for Rugrats, because Trunks, unlike Goten, who has a max power beat 1 and can go back into max power even if he gets sucked away, Trunks has to manually charge, and since androids don't really give you that liberty, it would be hard for Trunks to get back into the groove of things if he lost his key, which maybe is something to consider going into the actual match in the main season.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know?
I say another thing you mentioned that I didn't think about. Well, I did think about after the builds were posted was that Rayleigh matched up against 17, and I was terrified of that because Tambourine styled on 17. Let's not say how it is.
Right.
He styled on him, and Rayleigh on that attack build is basically 17's kryptonite essentially, right? So we've seen many times since as when Broly had the attack build against us last season, when Mid Vegeta had the attack build in 17. Many characters have been able to just handle 17 easily without contest, really. So I thought a lot that may have happened this time, but 17 said no, so that's how it is, I guess.
Doesn't Aurelie normally just go up against 17 on attack or not?
No, it's Aurelie usually goes against Cell, I believe. We try to match it with Cell.
I remember the last season that 17, even though he had a lead, Aurelie just was matched against him.
Yeah, like Aurelie faced him, but we most usually we like to have it where Aurelie faces Cell.
Alright.
Whether that's the right play or not, we don't know, but it's like Cell hope,
Right.
please do something.
Right.
I mean, he still did his 40k. You can't complain.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
like,
you can't complain.
I just watch it. It doesn't have Android in the title, so I just Cell is the best option. Is that the play?
Yeah. It doesn't have
No.
Android in the title, so Cell and Super 17. There you go.
Yeah, that's the answers.
Ooh,
I
or
mean-
early Piccolo.
Ooh,
Where
plot
is Ray
twist.
Piccolo?
Think about maybe having him in next week. Maybe. We'll still discuss. We'll find out.
Yo, don't lie to me, though. I know you're not going to. I'm kidding, coward.
Don't put his hopes
It's
up.
muscle. It's muscle, so I don't know.
I mean,
I
you
mean,
never know. Or maybe early Piccolo will launch some special beam cannons.
bro, if he launches a special beam cannon, he won't do any more damage after that.
Hey, that's a nice 15k. That's all we need.
Isn't that why you put him on spiritual control for the max power mode B1?
Yeah, that's what Anthony did.
Terrible.
But,
But back to what you were saying, Destiny. As much as you can't complain about Cell only doing 40k,
It's not what we normally see of Cell.
Yeah.
right? So much to the point that I would if I were Donut, I would be a little bit upset. Not gonna lie.
Oh yeah. No, also I do understand that the quality of opponent plays into it, right?
True. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, going back to like an IRL example, I guess it would be like LeBron James only scoring 20 points in a game when he's scoring like 50, 48 every game.
Or Steph Curry not doing well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, sure, they scored a lot of points. Don't get me wrong. We're not mad about that. Problem is, you didn't score as many as you're supposed to, as you usually do. Like, you're supposed to be doing like Cell is supposed to be 50, 60.
Yeah.
Almost every time. And to see him do almost 40 and below isn't worrying, but just like, what kind of happened? Why did he do less than what he usually does? And let's hope that, at least from the Android's perspective, let's hope that other teams don't pick up on why he did less. You know what I'm saying?
Honestly,
'Cause-
probably the same with 17, because we normally see that man do like almost 80k.
Yeah.
You know what? That's fair. That's true.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Well, as long as no other teams gets Aurelie, we're fine. That's all it is.
Oh, that's all. It
I
is?
mean,
Or
but-
Yeah, that's like all it is.
But
let's be honest.
you may make the argument that some teams have their own Aurelie.
True,
You look at
but-
100% Frieza right there.
100%
Yeah,
Frieza, Majin Vegeta.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, but for that, shall we
I
get
get it.
moving on? Don't want to make this
Yes.
too long here.
Yeah. I love talking about team, but we have other matches still.
Oh, speaking of Royals,
Speaking of, hey, nice segue. Look at that.
hold
Like this was planned or something.
on. I would, but they've been screaming.
of course.
But sorry,
Ah.
mother came in.
All
You're
good.
good.
Mom difference. Love it.
On different Slurpee difference. But here we have, I believe, Krillin to start.
Yeah, blue stuff.
Sorry, opening window. Yeah, we got Krillin to start doing 70k. I think he did almost 60 last week, or the week
can confirm
before. I have
Yeah,
don't
he did
remember.
56k last week. Yeah,
But
that's pretty good.
yeah.
What's his build? If you know, what's his build?
I think it's
He's
primarily
on
attack
plus
build.
1.
Yeah.
Yeah, attack plus 1, Dende's, IFS, Serious, and quick fast attack.
Really? He's still on that
Yeah.
build?
Yeah,
Mhm.
on Frieza
I-
AI.
I
mean,
remember. Oh,
Wait, Frieza AI out of all things. Something
Yeah,
you don't
Frieza.
expect out of the attack build.
Yeah, not very. Usually it's like Broly or Trunks or stuff like that, right? So-
Broly, Trunks, Chaozu, Ginyu.
Yeah. Yep.
But I mean, it's working. But
It's doing its thing. It's doing its thing.
honestly, my main takeaways from this match are Mid Vegeta still doing almost 25k. Poor rip of that man.
Mm-hmm.
And then another thing is like the Bora meta cooler, and hell, even Videl not doing what they normally have been doing lately. Even in testing, like they've been doing a lot better. And like we've seen Metacooler go elite, we've seen the Bora do like nearly 80k. But Slug basically doing what we've normally seen with Slug and just doing the best on Royals today.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no offense to Royals, but Slug's doing the best.
You've done something.
Something. It might be just the fact he got countered, maybe.
Maybe.
But that was a bad day, in my opinion. Slug's doing the best from my experiences. That was probably a bad day.
Also, I believe other than the 10k week we saw Majin Vegeta because he was basic cleanup, we have not seen Majin Vegeta yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, he's
Yeah.
already set. Like,
I'm sure. Yeah.
He's already
I
the
mean,
Majin GG.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's back up to. Is he on attack plus 2 or is he
I
back
believe
he's on
up
super.
plus
He,
Not
he,
super level.
he's on super, but he still does the melee damage with attack plus 2. It
Yeah,
feels
he
like.
still does it. Yeah.
Oh, so he's more mixed than.
Yeah.
Because remember, back in seasons past, he used to just be super plus 2, all the B2 Patoras, and then he would still do melee and kick your butt.
Yeah.
But
Like
now
last season he did some attack, right? Then
Yeah,
they swapped him back and forth, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's more mixed, which honestly is more scary because he like Maju, like Android 17,
mhm.
he does everything. He can do everything and will do everything if he gets the chance. This time he didn't get the chance.
Mhm.
That's how it is.
But yeah, honestly, but
Sorry.
I mean, since you guys are already talking, just give your opinions on this match.
Well, I like, Krillin, obviously shout out to Krillin, he's been actually really, really solid. And it's another week where Mid Vegeta's under 30k, and that's really shocking. 3 weeks in a row. Under 30k for Mid Vegeta, who, top 10 character last season, in my opinion. So, I don't know if it's just always a closing type issue, or what's going on there. So that's a little bit of a cause for concern if you're defenders, despite getting some wins here. Then obviously Royals, I won't take too much stock into this. Obviously Videl's struggling, but that's the FA for a reason. You don't need her to pop off as well as you need the others to. Metacooler, going back to what we kind of know him to be, this like 30 to 40 type, that's 30 to 50, right, depending on the day. Type of character. I think the Elite was obviously really nice, but I don't know if we'll see another one of those in this season. Obviously, knock on wood, hopefully see something there for him, something of that caliber. And obviously have Majin Vegeta and Baby Vegeta were both benched this week. So those are arguably your two strongest members, and to have them both out, you don't. You take this match with a grain of salt, right? But on the flip side, Lord Slud doing his thing. You love to see it. Keep doing what you do, buddy. It's all you.
The board trying to hit that 35k, but
Yeah, well, we know he can do better. We know he can do better. Come on.
Now,
Wow.
was Miss Vegeta was he closing?
Yeah, he was the closer. Yeah, he's a closer.
no.
He's in the lineup. At least in the lineup wise, yeah.
Lineup wise, but actually, he was one of the last two characters. Coincidentally, they were both the Super Saiyan mid characters. The last two on Earth Defenders.
That is.
It was mid Goku and mid Vegeta. They did that tag game, but mid Vegeta was kind of getting slapped around.
Okay. I thought that he was, suffering from,
Mhm.
he got brought in when there's a little damage. Okay, so he actually, okay, that makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
How's Mid Goku been for been to y'all?
He's been okay.
He's been kind of more on the closing side, or just not been in lately. But he's been doing what he's been intending to do, which is like the spam.
So between Mid Goku and Goku, who do you think is better? As
It's
of
hard to
now.
say. I would think right now Goku is slightly better. Goku also has the elite performance from the week 1, and so that obviously is some recency bias there. But both of them have been doing the 40k plus every week they've been in, so it's hard to say who's really better right now.
I honestly I think the takeaway for Royals is the Slug doing well. Maybe look at Deborah and Metacooler, who deals in FA, and then for ED, just mid Vegeta, try to maybe get him back into form.
Pretty much. I mean, Mid Vegeta. Do they really? Well, I'm trying to phrase this. They don't have to spend too much time on Mid Vegeta because once again, he is a Vegeta that does a ton of damage by himself, even if you leave him alone. So if they wanted to, they definitely could bring him up to a 40k character if they start him again. Because I feel like him in that starting position has been his best spot ever since obtaining Attack Plus 2. But that kind of hurts Krillin because he wants to be the starter, and that kind of clashes. But the last thing I wanted to say in regards to the two teams and the match in total was that I feel like Metacooler is underrated in the sense that people don't look at him as a scary character as much as other people on the team, which is fair because there are Vegetas everywhere on Royals and you have Deborah and stuff like that. But I feel like defense plus 2 Metacooler is a very scary starter because of the fact that A, he's an android, and B, how his melee operates and how it's not too slow, like it's not Nappa slow, but it's just, I guess the word is disjointed, but it's not seamless, and because of that lack of seamlessness, it gets him places that others can't, or it gets him into combos that others couldn't. And because of that, and Barrage Death Beam, I feel like he can be a very sleeper OP pick, sleeper OP character for Royals in the starting position moving into this season. Even though he may not have done well here, I still think he's very, very valuable.
I just want to say one thing: Metacooler does not have Barrage Death Beam. He has the Finger Blitz.
Yeah, Finger Blitz Barrage.
My bad. That's the one I meant.
I think we even saw Metacooler hit with a lock on Buster this week.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. That's not supposed to happen.
It's weird because it says lock on, but it doesn't lock on.
But yeah. Just Earth Defenders are looking to get back into groove, spam, and get Attack Plus, and Tien being the tank that he is. Royals have their team. Royals have a team, and even though they lost this, their team is scared. I don't know what more. I'm just saying the Royals, they're hiding their true power, and I don't know why.
But with that, shall we get moving on?
Sure. Let's do it.
All right, next match we have Cold Kina versus Muscle, the other divisional of this week. The first one was Surf Sentai, but some highlights of this match: Broly, Trunks. Finally, the base Trunks that we've been hearing about from Muscle on his melee build, just destroying base form Broly, just destroying 2 bars of both Monster Zarbon and Cooler, but finally going down because of like the spam from just Cooler and I believe Mecha Frieza did not see him, but and this was, I believe, not able to transform Cooler as well. Maybe wrong, but just a lot of good things, a lot of bad things. We Raccoon, Bojack both doing around the 20 to 30k range. And then Mecha Frieza actually one of the big surprises here, doing nearly 70k, just doing his spam. Just yeah, really good. And also the first week we saw 13. Sadly, he was basically the closer of this week for Muscle, but just couldn't close out the match. And yeah, I think some things to point out, maybe get Bojack and Raccoon a little bit working. I know Muscle say Bojack's back in the form, but lately just seems to be more of the nearing the 30k character that he was last season. And then for Cold, don't really need to talk much about Broly since 1, he's the FA, and 2, we've seen more of him. Monster Zarbon, it was the first time we've seen him, so I think he did decent, nearly 40k, and then Cooler and Frieza don't really need to go much on there, but Cooler, we've definitely seen more of him and what he can do, so maybe not the usual Cooler performance, but base Future Trunks, definitely nice to see the hype that was around that and see what he can do. I'm honestly really scared still, because just basically looks like Super Saiyan again. But Donut, what do you think about this match?
Exciting, really exciting. I thought this was would be a very, very fun match to watch, and it was. For Muscle there, when Future Trunks has that massive lead that he gets rid, right? And you as the team go 4 for 4 on ults, right? You're thinking, oh wow, we have this in the bag, and you look over the side. Cold says, well, not so fast, buddy. And I hit you with 9 out of 12 B2s, 3 for 4 on ults, right? And when the majority of clashes, they were able to match, and that's what you have with Cold Kingdom, the ability to ult and keep up with you despite a deficit. And that just really was showcased, right? And that's scary, right? For both teams. Like obviously getting the lead with Muscle against a character like Broly, ironically, right? Is pretty solid, right? And then that kind of goes back into is well not which Trunks are we gonna get, right? Basically, is it gonna be this one who does 30k, or is it gonna be this one we just saw that does almost 80k, right? And
Yeah.
I just be scared for next week since I had to face them, right? So I'm like, please tell me it's a 30k, please tell me, give me tails today,
Either 30k or he's not in, please.
Yeah, one or two, please.
But
throw me a bone.
Actually, sorry to cut you off, but one thing we did see was the rare base 13 SS Deadly Bomber ult, because he had Savior this week.
Yeah, yes, and that's something you don't often see, usually because he starts, right? Yeah, he's prone to start usually, or he just doesn't have it as Savior. So to see that come in was really refreshing, right? In a sense. So I think Muscle showcased a lot in this match, and I think a lot of positives. I don't think there's really much negatives you can say too much about things. Obviously with Troom, I think it would be the biggest one, right? He kind of just didn't do much at all, and then did an ult. Now like the majority of his damage, right?
He did an ult at his last little tick of HP.
Yeah, so like for Troom, he's the big problem child right now, but I think everyone else is in a salvageable spot. And plus you didn't have Broly in, who is one of your biggest heavy hitters, right?
I don't think we're ever going to see Chi-Chi.
Chi-Chi, one day she'll get her time. Now that time will be in playoffs, and she'll just pop off. We just know it, elite status. Can't wait for that moment. But yeah, so then on Cold Kingdom, everyone else did their thing. I mean, Broly obviously say, hey, well, you threw him to the wolves, I guess, today, but everyone else, was able to claw their way back. So, overall, fun match, very fun match, and a lot of ults thrown around. So we love to see that as a spectator.
Yeah. So, Oasis, what did you think about this match?
For once, I don't have much to say about this match or about a match, except that Broly doing not as much as we expect a Broly to do. Even though he has similar tools, not the same tools, but Cole will figure him out eventually. I am surprised that Mecha Frieza popped off as much as he did. Maybe that's just me, but I didn't expect him to throw out as many B2s and stay alive as long as he did, even though he was on a defense +2 build. So, I think
you expect more like someone like cooler to do that, which you've seen.
Exactly. I mean, he did 52, so that's around expectation. You know,
Yeah, but
I just didn't. I'm not used to. I mean, maybe Frieza has been doing that in the past, and I just didn't notice. But I wasn't expecting Frieza to be as much of a forerunner for Cold as he was in this match versus Muscle. I was expecting Frieza to do 40k, and Bojack. Well, actually, I was expecting 13 to do a lot more than he did here. I was expecting him to do, Protect Snowman or whatever his B2 is called now, and then transform, and then S.S. Daily Bomber his way through the victory. But that didn't happen, which could be because of Cold Kingdom's B2s. Probably is because of Cold Kingdom's B2s. So
also didn't help that 13 had like no one to really tag to, especially since he had Savior, because he was the last character to be out.
that is true. So maybe in the future, having 13 in the second, third slot would get more usage or more mileage out of him in later matches. That could be the strat to focus on, going into your next match. Who knows?
But since I think we all said what we needed to say, shall we move on?
Of course.
Let's do it.
On to the
Last match. Last match, not least.
On to the last match. We have Bujins versus Kaiju. Actually, starting off decently well. We had what was it?
It was Spoke versus Raditz, I believe.
Yeah, Spoke versus Raditz. Spoke actually doing one of the best on Bujins, which you don't really hear all that, but especially with characters like Kid, Gohan Boo, Evil Boo, Majin Buu, and a Bull even. But yeah, Spoke nearly took out a character, and then but Raditz was able to tag. Spoke, I think, just went down, and then Majin Buu came in. He actually ulted, I think, twice, and one of the ults that Bardock just didn't walk into. He was out, and then Dappa comes in, Buhan comes in, and honestly, this is where the turning point happens. It's like just Gohan Buu doesn't do anything to Nappa does a little bit to Buhan, but they mostly just been sitting there the entire time. And then Nappa finally brings down Buhan. Kid Buu comes in with Majin Buu still in the back, but they're not able to take out they're able to take out Nappa, but when Master Roshi comes in, he does his Jackie Chun things, and then takes out both Kid Buu and Majin Buu. So I don't know, what do you think about this match?
Pretty back and forth match, all things considered. Very small things kind of put it towards Kaiju's favor. Obviously, Master Roshi on the FA, Jackie Chun on the FA bench there, coming in and saying, hey, let me just beat up some pink blobs real quick, and that's what he did, right?
Let me show why Muscle had a bad time dropping me.
Yeah. So I know it feels really bad when Jackie Chun comes in and just starts wiping the floor with you, and it's like, well, and what do you do, right? It's really sad. But the small things, like I said, Kaiju had one more tag. That's potential 10k right there on health. There's two ults for Bujins that fell through. Kid Buu's ult with Plant Burst, which can do easily up to 15k plus, right? That's a lot of damage there. And then Gohan Buu with the Kamikaze, I believe. That rarely hits, so that's really unfortunate.
The ult that he always does on the ground, but it just goes down right after he fires it.
Yep, that's great. Then you have Bujin went 4 for 12 on B2s, and that's not really a strategy for success. It's a lot of B2s thrown out, but you want to hit with them, right? It's kind of we talked about cinema earlier in the cast. And with Kaiju, they hit 50% of their B2s, right? 5 out of 10. So they'll just do it just that much better than Bujin. So it's a narrow victory for sure. But I think both sides have a lot of positive for this. I think Spopovich was looking to take out Raditz before the tag. That's really interesting. I know Bujin supporters have been vocal about Spopovich and their frustrations. Yeah, their frustrations with him over this offseason. And then Kaiju, obviously, the FA coming in clutch as needed, and Nappa doing his thing as we know him too. So I think there's positives and negatives on both sides, right?
So Oasis, what did you think about the last match here?
I believed, to me at least, this had a lot more fisticuffs than I was expecting. I mean, considering Bujins are known for their Kamehamehas and mid-range attacks, I wasn't expecting to see them as up close and personal to Kaiju throughout the entirety of the match. And Kaiju kind of took advantage of that by sometimes going grade ape and being able to actually connect with their B2s and ults because of how close in range the Bujins were. And I feel like that strategy of luring the Bujins in order to blow them out is something to keep in mind for other teams later down in the season. I was proud of Roshi, doing his thing of 48k, almost 50k, versus such a formidable opponent as the Bujins, and getting all that damage in through Kamehamehas and melee, especially on Kid Buu of all people. I was expecting Kid Buu to be more resistant to Roshi, but it seemed like Kid Buu was already exhausted at that point and just couldn't put up a fight. Overall, like I said, just a lot more punches were thrown than I was expecting a lot more flashing lights because Bujins were in the mix, and that's usually what you would see. But because of the lack of that burst damage from Evil Boo, lack of burst damage from Spopovich because he isn't a burst damage kind of character, they really fell behind when Kaiju hit all their shots and Bujins missed theirs. If that makes sense.
And then really just to take away from this match, it's just for Bujins, it's Gohan Boo, Kid Boo kind of not hitting their stride. But for Kaiju, everyone did their 40k except what is really their best character, Bardock. I think this is just like one of those weak link weeks for Bardock. Like, just couldn't really get in, couldn't really be able to damage much. But I think we'll see him back in form next week, or maybe the week after. Who knows?
Yep.
But with that, shall we get moving on to the last part here?
Yep. Before we move on, is Bardock on Super Plus or Attack Plus 2?
Let me see. I got you.
I think
Wait,
I know
He
they
is
love
on
to
Attack
switch
Plus
him.
2. Yeah, Attack Plus 2, serious with
Yep,
fast
Attack
attack,
Plus.
Savior, Light Body, Dende's on Majin Buu AI.
Gotcha. Just wanted to keep
I know
that in
they-
mind.
I know they love to switch between them because of Super
That's why
Bardock
I
does
have
well, Attack Bardock does well.
Right. It's why I had to ask, because I truly didn't know whether they're going with Attack Plus 2 or Super Plus this week or any of the weeks, like Destiny said. That might be why he didn't do as well, because once again, we just want to stay a bit further back, and if Bardock can't get in due to B2s and stuff like that, you can't really get that game for him and stuff like that. But yeah.
But moving on to, I think, everyone's favorite part here, the predictions and also tier lists. On the left-hand side, we have the tier list for this week, and on the right, we have the tier list for all 3 weeks' averages combined. We have 95k plus for the only one being there is Fasha, but hey, we all got some characters up there. It's late Piccolo in the 70k plus range, Cell in the 55k plus range, which is very odd for someone like Cell, but hey, take what you can get. Moving on.
Yeah.
For match 1, we have Royals versus Sentai, and I'm sorry, Sentai. I love your team and all, but I think Royals just has too much power in their arsenal for to unleash, and they also still have Majin GG to unleash on all in the world. So I'm giving my vote to Royals here.
Yeah, I think that for me, it's one comes down to who's benched, right? If they do the same thing that Royals, on the Royals end, they bench both the Vegetas, right? I give it to Sentai there, right? But I can't guarantee that, so I'm thinking if Baby and or Majin Vegeta in, I'm gonna lean towards Royals, and I think it's too much firepower instead.
Personally, I would give it to Sentai. Like I
Ooh,
said
alright.
before, Sentai has just that straight has that shoot from the back style of play. They will keep you away and just shoot you with B2s for as long as possible. And because of how straightforward the strategy is, it's really hard to mess that up. While for Royals, it seems like it's going to take a lot of things to click in order for them to get a W. Either that's Majin Vegeta doing what he does, or doing what he does through hitting his melee, or Slug transforming, and or Mecha Cooler getting a lead. So, like, all these bits and pieces have to come together for everything to go well. While Sentai is just like, explosive Madongo bird. So I feel like Sentai, with how not easy, but how straightforward the strategy is, I feel like they have the advantage here.
Alright,
That's
so
fair.
it's who won the Royals, but some think that Sentai can bring oxygen. I think so as well. But moving on to match 2, we have Hybrids versus Namek. This is a hard one because I don't know who's going to be in, who's going to be out, and this is on Hybrids' home map, which is pretty open and not really having water, so it doesn't really affect anyone. But I'm going to have to actually give it to Namek here. I think with late Piccolo doing how well that he's been doing, Nuova's still in the back, being the B2 monster he is, maybe Nail coming in, and then the other two characters just pulling in their weight, I think Namek can take out the victory, but it will be close, because Hybrids is not a team to sleep on. Unless they bring General Blue.
Oasis, before I do my prediction, I have one question. And is Dodo in?
No.
Damn. Alright. So Dodo's not in, so that's a Hybrids ticket, right? They don't have the best kit in. That is. But what do you do, right? Light Piccolo and Nuova versus Old Gohan and Teen Gohan, right? Basically, kind of what you're looking at here. And it's tough, right? My gut feeling says still the Hybrids right now. That they looked really dominant last week. Obviously, Namek did too with like Piccolo, but it was more of a one-man show as opposed to from everyone on Hybrids doing their thing. So I'm gonna give it to Hybrids, really.
I would honestly agree with you. Even though I am the coach of Namek, I do believe the Hybrids have are more put together, because they've shown that all 5 of their members can work and will work when given the chance. And when given the chance, they all are willing to do 50-60k if needed.
Yeah.
While speaking from experience, Namek sure has late Piccolo, has Nuova, and I do believe King Piccolo is fixed. And Tambourine, essentially the whole point is, it's 5 characters that work versus 4 characters and then 1 person who's kind of not working.
Kind of there, yeah.
So that's why I feel like Hybrids, more put together, more power, more concentrated energy, will beat Namek.
Gotcha. I say maybe they throw a curveball. Maybe they throw in General Blue into the match.
Yeah, you never know. Give Piccolo another elite.
There it is,
Because that is what happened during Metal Cooler's elite. They had General Blue.
Yep.
But we have 2-1 on the side for the Hybrids. Match 3 here, Kaiju versus Cinema, and I love my team and all, but he's past. But since we were primarily doing testing things, and I know our plan for this week, I'm gonna have to give it to Kaiju, but I wouldn't. I think it'll be close since little insight Gogeta might be in again, and he has the innate draconic aura, so you never know what could happen. But I'm just going to have to give it to Kaiju, and also hopefully this makes me have a win this week, because I voted for myself every other week and I lost.
Fair enough. I'm gonna go Kaiju as well. I think the night map will be helping a lot against a lot of characters. Definitely like against Fasha if she's in. And then you have...
Actually, if it's a night map, Fasha can transform too.
True. Oh, Ape vs. Ape. We love it. And then you have the tag game from Kaiju, which we know to be very prominent from last season. So, yeah, I'm gonna give it to Kaiju. I'm wishing Cinema the best, obviously, because Destiny over here. But I don't know, it's those little shady stuff. Just with some test builds, right?
Oh yeah. One more thing that everyone has to understand: this is also the week where we have to decide whether ring or no ring for the season. So, may or may not see Garlic in this week.
Okay then.
Gee, I wonder what. I give it to Cinema personally.
Oh, okay.
Jane is too much of a. If Jane starts early, it's too much of a force to be reckoned with. Because as we've already covered, his melee is outstanding. His B2s are outstanding. Eternal Life just exemplifies that. And any team's going to have trouble taking him out so long as he is placed early. And on top of that, if they put Fasha in, because I've noticed Kaiju has a bit of an issue with melee. And since Fasha, in my opinion, is the second best meleeer in the league. Second behind, well, I'll get to that later. But second best meleeer in the league versus a team that sort of struggles with melee and does better when they transform. I feel like Fasha has a fantastic matchup into Kaiju. Yeah, sure, Kaiju can transform into apes, get power body, etc. But with how frequent Fasha likes to smash attack, that literally does not matter. So if Destiny is willing to take his two best characters and go, and like you said, Gogeta has this is not hard. This is going to be simple.
So
very
that's
confident.
2-1 going for Kaiju, but I think everyone agrees Cinema would at least bring out a fight. Maybe. Match 4, we have Rugrats versus Bujins. I'm not going to hear the end of Dorguard after this. We all know why. But in my opinion, I'm going to have to give it to Rugrats. Bujins has been wonky. They're still trying to figure out which one would be better, between a pull and spoke. Gohan Boo's been kind of lacking as of recent, and we don't know whether Majabu's 50k this week is just him being figured out or just a fluke. And then Kid Buu being a volatile character when we've seen him pull out like 70k performances. I don't think Kid Buu can do that. And then Evil Boo is just honestly the only character that I can think that will do decent into this matchup, but I'm still gonna have to give it to Rugrats. They just have a lot more of a complete roster, and we may or may not be seeing Gotenks this week. And I know Bujins has a difficult time versus Gotenks.
Gotcha. I'm gonna follow you up there with Rugrats as well for my prediction. As I said, there's a lot of question marks right now for Bujins as a whole. Some things are being, seem to be figured out a little better, right, than before. But Evil Boo has been shaky in testing over the off season. He's been up and down as well. And for Rugrats, you have a rarely Kid Trunks. You have Cyberman who come in, who's handled Kid Boo before. So there's a lot of uphill factors plus on Rugrats home map. So that is.
I hate to keep being the devil's advocate here, but I'm rooting for Bujins because of the fact that, sure, Bujins have seemed shaky in these past 3 weeks, but Rugrats, at least in the last match, have shown that there's still a couple question marks here and there that they need to figure out. And if Kid Trunks I feel like Kid Trunks can be shut down by a well-placed Kid Buu. A well-placed Kid Buu ult can shut him down and shut the rest of the Rugrats team down, especially if Aurelie is not present. I believe that even though Spopovich isn't their best and was Gohan Buu, while those two have been struggling to their own extent, I do believe they will fare well into the Rugrats, especially into Cell Jr. Even though Cell Jr. did well here, I do believe Cell Jr. will, if he's in, I believe he will struggle versus Bujin simply because A, the melee damage will hurt him a lot, and then 2, because Bujins are known for out spamming people are just known for out spamming. And I believe this Kamehamehas will play a major role in this match.
Alright then.
Alright, but that's going to be 2-1 for Rugrats, and I'm just a little bit surprised no one else mentioned Gotenks but me. But
Well, depends on if they even have the transformations on, right? They had them off last time. Yeah, so.
That's why I said Gotenks could be a big factor if they have it on. But moving on to match 5, we have ED versus...
There. I feel like Gotenks is there. I feel like that will not be good for Rugrats.
Who knows? Going on to match 5 here, we have ED versus Derp. And I'm actually going to have to give it to Derp on this one, because even though ED has power in base and Goku and mid Goku and Krillin, I just think just the threat of Vegito, the threat of Salza, and Hercule with his Pulse Courage Present Bomb spam are too much. And you also have a big question mark on ED, or 2 big question marks. Is Tien going to be in, and is mid Vegeta going to actually do well this week? So I'm giving my vote to Derp.
I'm going to second them. Let's say Derp as well. I think they'll be able to come back. I think Vegeta will be much more solid about what we expect him to be in that 60k range. I think Hercule will be able to spam out as said. And I do think we'll probably see Supreme Kai come back in. I think he can do a lot of work with his base form into that transformation, and he comes off that pretty well. So yeah, I'm pulling for Derp.
This has to be playing because I'm rooting for ED here.
Man, killing us here.
We'll get a 3-0 eventually, but
one day.
Yeah, one day. I feel like, well, sure, we can put question marks on mid Vegeta, but
yeah,
maybe I'm overvaluing mid Vegeta. But he, in my eyes, will always be a character that you can never underestimate and can always burst out damage if you give him the chance. Sure, he hasn't been the most, outstanding performer as seen on our tier lists, but it only takes one. It only takes one character slipping up for him to, hit a maximum flasher, for him to hit a rush B2, for him to give him blah 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 blah. Point is, ED has that power, like you were saying, Destiny, and I feel like Derp will give ED enough room to utilize that power.
Alright, so that's 1 vote for ED, 2 for Derp. Going on to match 6 here, we have Cold and Budokai. I'm going to have to give it to Cold here. Broly probably was just a fluke because of the base Trunks melee. Melee game too strong. And we've seen that he can just decimate whoever's starting if he gets his flow going. Cooler is still always a menace that can be brought out. Frieza as well. Well, both Friezas. But I think my main thing here is because 100% Frieza can just dish out that burst damage. And also 18 seems to have been struggling as of recent on Budokai, so I'm going to have to give my vote to Cold.
Crap, this one's gonna be a toss-up. This is gonna be a really close match, I think. I don't expect 18 to be in. I expect her to be benched out. So I wanna say Budokai. Barely. I wanna say do it through the tag game.
you're right. This is a really hard match to call. I'm not gonna lie. I would have to say Budokai as well, simply because if 18 is benched and Kid Goku is in, I feel like Budokai has the melee pressure to stay in Cold's face so they can't throw out B2s. Otherwise, I feel like if Kid Goku is not in, 18 is in, like we saw this week, having that missing link in the chain and allowing Cold to have the space to throw out their B2s or set up for themselves will lead to a snowball for Cold to take the victory. So it really depends, to me, on Budokai and how they prepare for it. Thus, that being said, actually, we'll have to change our vote to Cold because of how how less planning, how much less. I'm not sure what the wording for it is. I would stick with Cold probably will win it.
How much less maneuvering you'd have to do?
Yeah, less preparation for it. Yeah.
That's the verbiage.
Yeah.
We got a 2-1 to the side of Cold, but I think everyone agrees here it's basically a toss-up. One little mistake can lead to the other team winning. Match 7
so like
here.
Cold. Yeah, like Cold would throw like an ult, like Cold would throw an ult and just nuke Kid Goku. Right? It's like, alright, well.
or like they can't spam and then Kid Goku and Tao just wreck face.
Yeah, easily can happen.
Match 7 here, we got Muscle versus Androids. Ooh, this is another toss-up because it's basically like whether Trunks and Broly's going to be in, whether Broly's only going to be in, whether Trunks is going to only be in. Since the other three characters on Muscle have been a little bit lackluster, in my opinion, they can perform when they need to, but I think the two deciding members of Muscle here are Trunks and Broly, and which one's going to be on like that melee game and which one's going to be on the more like super or tank base. But also on the side of Androids here, we have like 19 could probably shut someone down. Cell could do Cell things. 17, since they're a little bit of a bigger target, can hit his B2s. Super 17 can. Maybe we see early Piccolo. But like, I'm going to have to give it to Androids, but slight edge to them, since it all just depends on whether Trunks or Broly's going to be in, and what build are they going to be on, and which position.
That's fair. Yeah, we're actually planning to bench 19 in this match. And that's the idea right now. So obviously, as coach of Androids, I'm gonna say Androids. I think 17 and Cell will be able to do their thing. Knock on wood.
I would also go for Androids here. I personally think that, like Destiny said, Muscle seems to have a couple question marks, a couple of things to figure out, while Androids always have at least 2-3 characters to fall back on, even if they have, early Piccolo and Super Android 17, etc., etc. So based on that confidence, and I'm even willing to say that I think this match will have the biggest deficit. Win or lose, this match will have the biggest health deficit.
I can see that. I can see that, definitely. Hey, but by the way, we got a 3-0.
Yeah, we got a 3-0. No doubles out of the game.
Matches in. Hell yeah.
But going on to the last match here and some of the final bit of this cast, we have GT versus Resurrected Warriors. I'm going to have to give it to Resurrected Warriors. They've just been proving to be such a dominant team with Vegeta, Majub, Ader, Goku, even Tapion and Yajirobe are doing the things. GT just has way too many of the little question marks, like whether or not GT Vegeta will hit his stride, whether or not GT Goku will throw out like 3 ultimates maybe, or transform and just hit B2s. Pan's always a little bit of a toss-up. I think the only 2 characters GT can really rely on right now are Sin and Pycon. Sin to tank damage and Pycon to just deal it back. But I'm going to have to give it to Resurrected Warriors for having more pieces.
Yeah, I'm hoping this match we see like a Majub versus Pycon type of who can carry harder type thing. And I give that to Maju, over what we've seen. And no, Maju's not the only person you have to worry about. You have Mr. Take Your Man, right? And that's it right there, right? And so, and on top of that, you have other characters sort of fend off, right? So, yeah, I'm gonna give it to RW.
And once again, I would have to agree that I believe RW will take it. If Majib is in, he's shown that he can carry his team back and forth to the goalposts and beyond. And GT, once, like I said, GT will figure out, we'll have their team click later on the season, but I don't believe it will be here.
And hey, another 3-0. Yeah, the final 2 matches are 3-0s. But
That is.
with that, we've come to the end of the Capsule Cast. We have the Discord where you could just check us out. We're nice people. Please, we don't bite. We have the website you can check out, and Twitter, all in the description below. And with that, I'm Destiny.
I'm Donut.
And I am Oasis.
And with that, we'll be seeing you next time.
See ya.